Coming up this week, we meet Sheffield callboy William Longdon.
Hello.
We also look at the ins and outs of suspension, and we've got all the action from the men and women's elite category downhill racing in round 3 of the RAV4 Downhill Series. Here we are in the town of Innerleithen near Peebles, and as you can see from around me, it's absolutely beautiful. We've got one of the UK's most favourite downhill courses here, and some say it's the only course in the UK that really rates against a World Cup standard. It's got some incredibly steep and technical sections, and some very fast sections as well.
Best way I could describe the course is my worst nightmare.
I like riding here. I think it's probably the best course we've got in Britain.
It's nice to see a long course in Britain, well, Scotland. No, we don't have them as long in England.
It's been a bad track, a lot better than anything else we've had this year.
This definitely suits me. It's more near Grundig sort of standard course.
It's really fast.
A bit soft, but it'll be all right.
It's those conditions that I really don't like.
It's got some good bits.
The more technical, the better.
You've just got to pedal really hard every opportunity. You've got to slow it down a bit to get online.
By the time you get to the bottom, you're going to be worn out.
Keep pedalling.
It's quite impressive, yeah.
Really, it's just brilliant. I love it.
Previously on Mountain Bike Britain, supercharger Steve Peat just can't be beat. He won at Nammoor Quarry in round 1 and he went on to win again at Cheddar.
Yeah, that's two out of 2. Hope to keep going.
Yeah, but he's not going to keep going, Rog, because this week he's not here. Also not here is number 2 man Tim Ponting, out with injury. So this means the field is wide open to a whole bunch of other riders, and if any one of them win today, they could take the lead in the series.
Yes, indeed, Rory. At the front of the queue is James Alloway. Now, his nickname is Throttle Jammer for good reason, because he just tears the course apart, and that's earned him that all-important top dog ranking for this race. He had a triumphant run at Cheddar Gorge, which proved to everybody that he's the man to look out for.
That's amazing. It's a dream, really.
Another man who's gunning for it this weekend is Nigel Nice Bloke Page, who was just a face in the crowd before the start of the series.
Yeah, Rory, he kind of caught us with our pants down at Nammoor, which is a bit cold in the snow.
And whilst we were running the other way, Nigel stormed across the finish line to take second place. Now, he's a marked man now, and we'll certainly be watching him very closely because he's going to be a hot favourite to do well here in Scotland.
Rob Warner's here, and he's out for blood. He's a top world-ranked rider, and we'd normally expect the Wild Man to be up there duking it out with Steve Peat for the series lead. But Rob hasn't found consistency this season. He came a disappointing 7th place at Cheddar Gorge and is only ranked 6th for this race. So if there's one man desperate for a podium place this weekend, it's Rob Warner.
Now come with us to Sheffield to meet MBUK pin-up Will Longdon.
I've been riding bikes since I was little and I'd always wanted to be a sportsman of some kind. I think my dad's probably been the biggest influence on my career. He was a cyclist and a motocross racer when he was younger. I always wanted to copy him and ride motorbikes or ride bikes of some kind. Tried all sorts of sports and I went from sort of football to bikes all the time, motorbikes, road bikes, cyclocross bikes, BMX bikes, just anything with wheels rather than balls really. And my friends were mountain biking. It was just a natural progression. I started getting better at it. I started racing. I just carried on doing that, went down that path really. In '95 I won a lot of races in Britain and I was still at work. I was a pattern maker in the steel casting industry. I'd ride into work on a £5,000 bike and well, what's this for? You start to get mad with me and say, no, you can't make a living out of riding bikes up and down hills. He told me to chuck it in a skip and told me that was where I was going to spend the rest of my life. And once he said that, that made me realise that was the last place I was going to spend the rest of my life. I went on holiday, came back and handed him a resignation. Told him I was off to ride bikes up and down hills, which I've been doing ever since. I'm pretty laid back a lot of the time, but I do get a bit stressed sometimes and have a bit of an energy release. I tend to spend a lot of time asleep sort of thing, so yeah, saving my energy for the important times. I do notice other people's riding styles. I did have to ask everybody else about my riding style. There's a lot of different styles out there. They all seem to do the job. I seem to be able to concentrate better when it's really heavy rain, really muddy. I like it when it's steep and really technical. The harder the better really. I've been riding a long time, so I'm used to all the conditions, so if it's hard for everybody else, it's good for me. It's really hard work being a pro mountain biker. No, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. You wouldn't believe what we have to go through, as you can imagine, but it's a horrible job. Yeah. Rewind the tape. If I get old, I think I'd like to run a team. I can see a lot of potential in young riders now. I'd like to think it might be worth putting some of my time into sponsoring them and helping them, giving something back to the sport. I'm going to the break.
Well, here we are back up in the big country and the riders are quaking in their kilts.
It's all in my mind. If I'm happy, like, if I'm in a good mood and if I'm up for it, then like, I could beat anybody.
I try not to think about it too much with the results and stuff, just concentrate on what I've got to do.
I'm just going to try my hardest, just try and stay on the bike.
Still wide open, it's still going to be a really exciting event. Hopefully it'll go all right.
If I can't be bothered, I can't be bothered, and I'll end up putting my feet up and riding down when I'm on the bars, you know what I mean?
It's been going all right in practice, so hopefully everything will go all right.
If you stay on the bike, we've all got a chance of taking that lead.
We'll see who gets it right today. It's a bit of a lottery, I think.
Well then, let's see what the lottery's got in store for us.
High on the mountain, we've taken a trip by helicopter to the top, and they've been out with a strimmer, Roger. They've cleared the course, but there are big rocks and big danger in this high altitude section.
Yes indeed, Roy, we're starting right up on the moor, so watch out for the double barrels, but you go scooting down at terminal velocity into the woods, and you have to be careful. The first of many bus stops hit you. Ding ding!
Yeah, and these are major danger bus stops. From here, they go on into the clear-cut section.
Yeah, Rory, the clear-cut section is the part of the course that most of the riders fear.
Watch out for Granny. Out of the way, will you?
You've got rocks, you've got roots, you've got a tight berm and a massive 3-metre drop-off.
Yeah, and then we go to the rock gap. Here we come through the compression bomb hole.
Out the other side, and look at that whiteout. This is exactly what the riders see as they break out and sprint for the line.
OK, we got to get out of the way and leave it to the professionals.
As we know, Rory, the rules of downhill racing are nice and simple. You get some time to check the course out the day before, figure out which way you're going to go, check your lines, and hopefully iron out a few kinks. Oh, can be a painful process.
Yeah, Roger, and the riders' lungs are going to be in pain as well as they come down towards the finish of this course. It's the longest one here at Innerleithen, and everyone's going to be so exhausted that they're finding it difficult to negotiate that infamous rock gap.
Yes, Rory, good illustration of that would be to watch top Kona pro Scott Beaumont as he gives it a go in practice. Oh, what happened there, Scotty?
You'll be pleased to know we got that on film. Do you want us to show that?
Not really, but I guess you're going to anyway, so please don't.
Now, once the racing starts, it's up to the top of the hill to wait your turn in the lineup. You get one run down and one run only, remember. The fastest on the day wins. Sound simple?
Well, it wasn't for poor old Ed Mosley, ranked number 7 nationally at the moment. Ed's one of the guys who could have become series leader if he had a win today, but his chain snapped and he had to coast to the finish line.
Yeah, what a shame to lose Ed in this competition. Well, top rider Stefan Gleed had a spectacular start to the season and a spectacular start to this race. Check it out, he's barely hanging on there. Here he comes crawling to the line in an unspectacular 4 minutes 43.20. Not a scorcher.
Now, Chris Spencer's a rider that we haven't heard much from this season, but he's set the early lead. Here he is crossing the line in a time of 4 minutes 15.96 seconds.
Go Glyn O'Brien. He's Ireland's favourite. Set a good time today, but it wasn't as good as Chris Spencer's.
But Andy Parks finally set the time to beat on this course. Just going through the bus stop there. Here he is coming through the clear cut. He's really got it together, looking nice and tasty. Coming across the line. What's the clock going to stop at? 4:13.48, gripping.
Nice time. What about teammate then? Our pin-up boy, Will Longdon. Oh dear. Not going to be centre spread today. Will coasting in. Well, it's all just gone a bit pear-shaped today, really. This course eating up our peachiest riders.
Yeah, I think Will's going to be feeling a bit melancholy back in the paddock. Look, Mum, no hands.
So the standings at the moment are that Andy Parks holds a slim lead ahead of the pack with 5 riders left to go.
What happened, Will?
Yeah, I had problems at the top of the course. I was pedalling hard down a slightly off-camber section. My pedal hit the floor and it threw the back wheel out of the dropout, so I had to stop because the wheel was jammed up against the frame. Stop, sort that out, and then by the time it was 30 seconds at least, and every time I got back on my bike, and you can't afford to lose 1 second, never mind 30, so it was pretty much all over then, unfortunately.
Coming up in part 2, we've got round 3 of the Grab 4 Cross Country Series. We're also going to check out all that latest suspension technology, and we've got more action from the downhill racing. We'll see you after the break.
Choose life. Choose a job. Choose your commuter route, your business suit, your aftershave. Choose your pension plan. Choose your football team. Choose your hairstyle. Honestly, why would we bother with any of that? We chose not to choose. The reason? No reason. Who needs a reason when you have a mountain bike?
We're back and bouncing into part 2. We're going to look at all that suspension technology. We've got the climax of the RAV4 downhill series here in Innerleithen. But first, let's have a look at the cross-country action. The new but savage cross-country course lies ahead of series leader Paul Lazenby.
It's pretty nasty out there, but I enjoy it like that. I hope it's going to really rain hard later.
Well, as the men set off, the top contenders are Nick Craig, Barry Clark and of course Paul Lazenby. But look at this, Carl Sturgeon and Team Rally getting a storming start on the inside.
Absolutely brilliant, a tough start uphill and there's more to come as well, Roger. It goes all the way to the top of the mountain before they descend in the tight technical trees.
Here we see Barry Clark of Team Rally working with his teammate Carl Sturgeon, just shadowing him there as they make that big climb. And Paul Lazenby struggling by the looks of things to keep up, getting blown away a little bit.
Here comes Nick Craig and hotly in pursuit of him is Matt Guy. They're right on each other's wheel through the trees.
Here comes Carl Sturgeon to take a career best first national victory.
It didn't rain at all, it stayed dry, so just my wish didn't come true.
Here we go for the women's elite race, and it's a fast start for Tracy Ann Brunger there in the centre picture, but she's got Caroline Alexander to contend with, and we all know how good she is at climbing.
Yeah, indeed. Caroline getting a bit of a slow start in this race, but it's all the way up to the top of the hill, which is where Caroline's going to like to do the dirty work. But Tracy Ann Brunger using her incredible descending skills to take victory on the day. The revolution that stormed mountain biking over the last 10 years is suspension.
We've hunted down trackside suspension guru hyena Dave Garland.
Suspension gives you a much more supple ride, takes a lot of shock out of your body, enables you to go much faster over rough ground. The downhillers want a fork that's extremely plush, always works, never bottoms out, never comes to the end of its travel, and always tracks through corners very well. This is what you would see on the majority of mountain bikes today. There's an adjustment on this that allows you to squash a spring or release a spring. Inside we have two springs. You've got a primary spring which is on top, which is a short spring, and we've got a main spring on the lower which takes care of the big bumps. Exactly the same in the other side. They're the lower legs. They've got 4 bushings, 2 bushings per side, which run on this smooth upper tube. The actual damping of the fork is taken care of by a cartridge in this leg. Now, it's an oil-filled cartridge and it's adjustable compression and rebound damping. You can either make the spring work much quicker or much slower depending on what sort of course or terrain you're on.
Well, thanks for that, Dave. Of course, I knew all that already. Right. Well, really, there is so much more going on in suspension than you could possibly imagine.
I bet you couldn't possibly imagine this. Dave Hemming's secret weapon.
The system is called Astrotech. It's Formula 1 technology. Basically, it measures everything that the bike's doing on the course. It's tailor-made, so the bike gets totally switched on for the course we're riding. This is where all the information is stored, that the potentiometers and everything register here. Okay, so on suspension movement, it just registers it through and into the little box.
Well, the man who lives inside the little black box is techno wizard Adrian Ward.
In simple terms, it tells us how many times you bottomed out the suspension into that, and if you're using all the suspension travel throughout the whole downhill. If you're not using all the suspension travel, we have to soften the springs off. If you are using too much suspension travel, we have to harden the springs. And then from there, we can look at more detail and look at damping and gearing as well. So hopefully, the scientific method of modifying the bike will actually pay off in a podium finish at the end. But you never know.
Previously on Mountain Bike Britain in the women's downhill event, both the first 2 races were won by Caroline Meerbeck.
As main rival, Tracy Mosley has come second in the first 2 events, so she's going to be looking to swap places this time round.
Using all the suspension travel, we have to soften the springs off. If you are using too much suspension travel, we have to harden the springs. And then from there, we can look at more detail and look at damping and gearing as well. So hopefully, the scientific method of modifying the bike will actually pay off in a podium finish at the end. But you never know.
Previously on Mountain Bike Britain in the Women's Downhill event, both the first two races have won by Karen van Meerbeek.
Karen's main rival is Tracy Mose, who's come second in the first two events. She's going to swap places this time around, Karen, if she can. Yeah, some of the riders might have been taking some big air off the jump there, but he's keeping it nice and low.
Nige coming up to this dangerous crowd section now. This is where he drops in. One mistake and it's all over. Let's hope he gets it.
It's a bit blind out of there, isn't it? As you approach that turn, you don't see it much at all.
No vision at all as he comes through the bomb hole. Now the wall jump as he goes into the arena.
Let's see how he takes that nicely over the wall jump. Keeps it really low. He's got into his big gear.
Watch the clock. It's looking good. 4:09.88 the time to beat. Remember, it's just a few seconds to go, but the line is desperately far away from him.
Oh, it's going to be very close, but it's not going to be enough.
4:12.64 for Nigel Page. That's going to be good enough for second, but it's not good enough to beat Richard Warner.
And this next man is the top hot donut for this race. Ranked number 1, James Alloway. He's the man to beat in a sense, but that means the pressure's going to be on his shoulders.
Yeah, of course, with Steve Peat away, that's why he gets that number 1 ranking. It's only a matter of fractions of a second that he's behind the other leaders in the series. Let's see if the man Alloway can do it today. He's sitting down a lot, Roger.
Yeah, he was nicely out of the blocks, nice and fast, but he's sitting down a little bit here. Let's watch how he takes the bus stop. Oh, nice and fast. That was well taken.
I suspect James might just be conserving some energy for the lower part of the course. He knows that sprint to the line is absolutely vital. This is where he's got to get it together now. He's still sitting down, though. He should be standing up through there.
Yeah, just a little bit slow on the entrance to that steep drop. Let's see him take into the... Where?
Oh, he's gone in, but he's not come out. He's down. James Alloway, this is a shocker. He's actually down on one of the more simple parts of the course, the entry to the bomb hole.
No.
Yeah.
All going horribly wrong. Could it be too much pressure? He's just body language. He said, I'm not going to do anything here because I know I haven't got it now. He's going to break out, I'm sure, and give a good performance for the fans of the line, but...
Again, a bit like Helen Mortimer, Roger. Look, the time was looking so promising. 4:17 to the line. Remember, the time was 4:09 to beat. But it's not going to be James Alloway's day. He's off the podium with that one, surely.
Bit of a shame. If he could have got up a bit quicker, might have been still in with a contention. So out of the running completely. Look,
18th position. 15 seconds for 18 riders. That's how close it is. He's well down the field.
There is just one man now who can take the victory away from Rich Warner. And I tell you, there'll be no brotherly love lost between these two. He's going to be going for it. Rob Warner, look at that, wearing the national champion's jersey. He is the reigning national champion.
Yes, and Rob's experience on the bigger courses in Europe and around the globe is absolutely impeccable.
Oh, look at that.
Said that he's on the limit, isn't he, Roger? He's right on the limit there, right on the rails as he goes round onto this first bus stop.
Yes, indeed. Watch him take that nice and fast. Oh, again, a bit raggedy. He's really hammering this. You can tell the speed.
Yeah, it looks raggedy, but he's in control, actually. That's the way he rides. He's through the bushes, through the undergrowth. He's taking no prisoners on this course at all.
This is fantastic stuff. He is so fast down that section. It's so steep as well. He really is absolutely rocketing down this course. Look at the time on the clock.
Yeah, Rob Warner, he the man. He's coming through into the field now. Styles it for the crowd. The time is 3:45. He's got about 20 seconds in hand.
Obviously, the fear of being beaten by your younger brother in front of millions of people on TV is a very potent stimulant indeed.
A very good stimulant to have, I think, because the time is awesome. Look at this. It's going to be a sub-4 minute run. Unbelievable. I don't think anybody thought we'd see sub-4 minutes. There it is. 11.84 seconds ahead of everybody else. 3:58.04. Rob Warner wins it.
So the Warner brothers reigning supreme on that one. It's the first time ever we've had two brothers on the podium at a British race.
And Nigel Page just sneaking a nice little third place whilst no one was looking. Nigel Page.
The run felt awful, like all the way down. Just didn't get many things right and just felt a bit slow, really. But it went all right, I suppose. Third place.
Richard Warner gets second today.
Never been first or second before, so that's pretty cool, really.
Rob Warner, your national champion and leader here today. Congratulations, Rob Warner, Richard Warner and Nigel Page. What a fantastic podium.
It's all about carrying speed on a course like this, and it's going to be all right, I think.
I'm lost for words, I don't know what to say.
Just got lucky. Simple as that.
Well, that's your lot from Body Scotland here in Innerleithen. Next week we go to sunny Shropshire for round 4 of the Round 4 Downhill Series. Be there.